call one, Yasharahla, Bashim Kakadash, double honor to the Apostle Els, great millstone, peace, citation, hopeful elect, Shalom. And this lesson is going to be like the update on BRICS. So we're going to come up with a title for this lesson. So it says, after BRICS, 3 new countries ready to launch on currency. This is by April 1st, 2024. It's about 6 days ago. And pretty much about last week, it was saying that how 18 countries, there was another article saying about how 18 countries is joining, the BRICS alliance. It's ready to apply. So you already know, like, it's already done for this, U.S. currency, the dollar, that pretty much was the reason why a lot of nations were doing bad in terms of their economy, because they pretty much was being oppressed by the U.S. dollar so much. And they're pretty much starting to put the U.S. dollar to an end eventually by trying to bring back their currency with, pushing it to the actual standard of money, which is supposed to be gold and silver, for the nation to have their own currency. And that's pretty much what the BRIC Alliance is helping other nations do. They're trying to find a way to destroy the U.S. dollar, because the U.S. pretty much been in a power seat for very too long, and these other nations are tired of that. And that's another reason why America's known to be a whore, because it's like, the other nations are pretty much defiled by the ways of America, because look at how the U.S. currency cripples every other nation's currencies. Every other nation's economy is basically fucked up because of the U.S. dollar. And the U.S. dollar is pretty much monopoly money. That's fiat currency. It has no intrinsic value. That's why it's always inflated. Even the California minimum wage, I might even do a lesson on that. That's even $20 an hour now for the minimum wage. And you could pretty much wonder why there's so many gangs out there, why a lot of gangs originate out there, because everything in fucking California is so goddamn expensive. But anyway, that's, like I said, a separate lesson, separate topic for a different lesson. So let me see. It says, going into the article, which is like a 2-minute read on average, it says BRICS is not only the it's not the only alliance that is looking to topple the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. It has now inspired a new counterpart that is also aiming to replicate the development and further the dollarization agenda. Similar to the BRICS ideology, 3 countries in Africa are planning to launch a new currency and sideline the U.S. dollar for trade settlements. So it says, a trio of countries in Africa, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, are planning on the formation of a new currency. All 3 countries are former French colonies that have experienced military coups in recent years. The trio of nations are currently being governed by military regimes. They are now taking a leaf from the BRICS playbook with the idea of launching a new currency. It says the 3 African countries have also formed a new defense alliance called the Alliance of Sahel States, AES. The AES bloc wants a new West Africa currency that will have no ties to the US dollar. The trio of nations plan to settle trade among themselves with the new currency and not the US dollar. The idea is similar to BRICS, which is also working on the formation of a new currency. And let me see. It says the development will be another blow to the US dollar, as several new countries are now embracing the dollarization agenda. BRICS has now inspired new alliances to break away from the US dollar and launch new currencies. And it says General Abdurrahman Tiani, the head of Niger's ruling military junta, affirmed the plans of forming a new currency like BRICS. The currency is a first step toward breaking free from the legacy of colonization, he said to France 24. So yeah. So you already see right there that when this dollar goes down and starts to crash, like shit, it may lead to hyperinflation, and then eventually they're gonna try to come up with a new currency, which will be that MOTB, to try to, bring the economy back on its feet, which, shows you right there that this is all agenda to bring in the CBDC as a solution. That's why they're trying to do away with the dollar. But bring out some scriptures a little that makes us edifying to the whole that. And this is Joel chapter 3. I know this is mostly talking about, basically the other nations starting to build a nuclear weaponry against America, but it could also tie in with economics as well, with how the other nations not only are also building, let's say, a sort of like an arsenal to the point where they could be on par with America or par with Russia and China, because they're starting to have their AI, their nuclear weaponry, and their military defense, basically things of that nature. But they're also building up their currency to where they don't really need to rely on the US dollar. They don't need to have the US dollar to F up their currency and their economics, and that's what the other nations are starting to do. That's the point of this whole BRICS thing. Because BRICS been around for a minute, it's been around for a couple of decades. It's just, the only thing is, it's like, it's starting to get more and more, notoriety, and it's also starting to get a lot more, pretty much common that more nations are starting to join the BRICS, because their agenda is mainly to, reject this whole US dollar and to de-dollarize it. Let's see, and it says in Joel chapter 3 verse 9, calling him Yasharahla 144, it says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up." Verse 10, "Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say I'm strong." So yeah, and that's pretty much what they're doing, is building up a strong currency against the US dollar, Verse 11, "Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord." And basically the mighty ones in this case would be, it's pretty much like talking about all the nations in rulership alongside America, but in particular, America is considered to be that number one country that is used as an oppressor to all the nations round about. And what the Lord is doing before He, the scripture comes down and makes war with the other nations, and as well as the Edomites that rule in this country, America, the Lord is going to also allow the other nations to pretty much come against each other to destroy each other. During the World War III, and before that, we're starting to see the dollar going down, and currencies are going against the US dollar. There's a scripture in Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 7. It says, "Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad." Right. And a way that the nations are showing off their anger is that, they're trying to go as far as de-dollarizing this US dollar, and that's what the other nations are doing with the BRICS alliance. At one point, they were kind of afraid, doing it, because a lot of other nations weren't really, don't get me wrong, like Gaddafi tried that shit, at one point, and they went as far as assassinating him. And then what they did in America was they made Gaddafi look like a bad leader, which in fact he was good for his people, because, he did a lot for his people, And that's something that a lot of average Americans don't understand. They thought he was a terrorist. They thought he was, all the wickedness, all the wicked shit they said about him. That's what they believed, But nah, he was actually a good leader. And that's pretty much what America does when they can't get their way with another nation. They go as far as sending U.S. soldiers over to their nations, basically causing hell, wreaking havoc in their country, terrorizing their country. And then you got the U.S. soldiers over there pretty much terrorizing the citizens in their country. All for the simple fact that America can't get their way. And eventually this is going to be the result, for America, being the most wicked country of all time. It says in verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. Alright. And pretty much what's left for this place is thermonuclear destruction at this point. Because the sins of this land have pretty much skyrocketed to where scripture said it has reached up to the heavens, their sins. This country is so wicked, you got people from other nations that can't wait to get over here so they can fulfill their wicked desires. And eventually this is something that's going to happen to this country as well, for the simple fact of how the dollar is going to get, completely, wiped out in the times to come. So it says in Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 19, it says, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the back of their iniquity. So the dollar that people worship so much, eventually, it's going to come to a point in time where that money is going to be completely wiped out. Like, nobody's going to want to look up to it anymore. It's going to be, eventually hyperinflated, and then, maybe deflation may come after the hyperinflation. But I don't know what order, these things will happen. But of course, it's all prophecy anyway that the dollar's going to mess up, and then eventually they're going to have to bring in a new currency. And when they bring in that MOTB, we can expect to be out of here, probably like Apostle Sahar said, in the next few months or so, because of the fact that, as the MOTB is implemented, then things are just going to speed up, because this is all Esau's plan anyway, to get everybody chipped. But you see, every plan that Esau has, the Most High is already throw a monkey wrench in all his plans. So that's something that Esau don't realize. So thought I brought that out to the spirit, and with that, let's say, call on Allah, Yahweh, Bashim, Yasharahla, Bashim, Rakadash, the Baras, and Apostle Elsewhere, Melson, peace, teaching on full love, Shalom.